Origin of the World Religions by Auntie Arabi. Big History Project, adapted by New Zealand staff. Published 07/30/2016. Word account 2091. English Max. As people created the more efficient systems of communication and more complex governments in earlier regions civilization, they also developed what we now call religion. Having done some research on the common features of early region cities, I'm interested in finding out why all civilizations adopted some sort of religion and how these origins spread over vast regions. I know that by 12,000 BCE, there were developed cities in most parts of the world. Having examined some early writing from the city of Sumer in Mesopotamia, know that people had already convinced of gods that looked out for them and welfare of their groups and cities. But the world religions, I know of Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam, were bigger than a single city or even a single region of the world. In fact, these religions have survived for thousands of years, and all of them seem to have developed around the same time. Since people do not appear to have lacked for religious life on a local scale from very early times, why did survival large-scale belief systems emerge between 12,000 BC and 7,000 CE? In fact, why did all the major world religions appear in that area? Why religions became global? One possibility that is about 100 BCE population in the Afro-Eurasia had climbed over 1 million as a result of encouraging commercial and cultural interactions between people crossing this large area. Religions were shared, the new religious systems provided foundations of the cultural communication, moral expectations, and personal trust among people who were meeting, share ideas, and doing business with one another far beyond their local neighborhoods. The historians J.R. and William McNeill call this development of proto-congregational religions. Common features of these religions are the following. There are usually founding men who receives the word of God. There is a key text or set of texts that defines man's relationship with God. There is a recommended ways of living and worshiping. People come together regularly to have God's word interpreted for them by the authority, and there is a path to self-transformation and internal salvation in one way or another. In the human web, a bird's eye view of the world history, McNeill's argue with the religion holding during this time period for the following reasons. In some subsequent centuries, urban dwellers, particularly poor, marginal persons, found that authoritative religion's guidance, shared faith, and mutual support among consciousness of belief could substitute for the tight-knit custom of village extents, within which the rural majority continued to live and give meaning, value, or ordering lives, despite daily contact with uncaring strangers, such as religion consciousness in turn helped to stabilize urban society. SOCIETY, by making the inherent inequality and instantly more tolerable. So what they're saying about religion provided structure and meaning of large groups of people in ways that small, tight-knit villages, communities used to do. Religion, especially faiths that were shared by large groups of people, actually provided stability in cities. These religions were accepted by thousands of followers because they applied to many different people from all the social classes and occupations. If their texts and tenets of the faith spoke to such a wide variety of people, then the religious beliefs were most likely to spread along the trade routes, unlike the earlier village based on the religions. While many people were drawn to these early religions, they are not all the same. Each faith has its own answer to question about humanity, and both each one has different particities. All faiths, apart from the confucianism, which are some scholars classify an ethos system, rather had a religion offer internal salvation in one form or another. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all monotheistic, which one omnipotent or omniscient deity. Judaism allowed the worship of numerous powerful gods and goddesses. Buddhism and Taoism also accept the instance of multiple divine beings in variable forms and incarnations. All of these religions teach the humans relations should be guided kindness, selfishness, and decency. Confucianism in particular emphasizes public moral behavior, good government, and social responsibility. A closer look at Hinduism and Buddhism. So how did each belief system define these relationships with God? With sociality and with other humans? First, I'm going to take a look at Hinduism. I learned through a few web searches from the several sources that Hinduism is often called the oldest religion, mainly because of no single founder and because the main ideas of religion appear in a variety of different texts written over time, starting around 4,000 years ago. What is interesting about Hinduism? That is was developed a group of people living in the Indus Valley who had a rigid hierarchical social structure called the caste system. Mitchell Ferrier sums up the basic tenets of Hinduism in building of Buddhism, quote below. The untouchable, the lowest members of society. It's Sohiety, that dealt with human waste and the dead. This group did the jobs no one else wanted to do. They were graded by the other groups in rituality. Emperor, therefore, outside the heritage of groups altogether. The Sundries have jobs in the vice that were headers, farmers, artisans, and merchants. The Christians, the second highest caste, were the warriors and rulers. At the top were Brahmins, who were persons, scholars, and teachers. Because the priests were part of this caste, the early religion known as Brahmanism involved the larger Hindu traditions. The Hindus revered many gods. They believed that people had many lives. Reincarnation also believed that in karma. This means whatever a person did in the life would determine what or she would be in next life. Thus, reincarnation creates a cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. The cycle ends only when a person realizes that his or her soul and God's soul are one. To help achieve this goal, the Hindus have several spiritist practices, some of which are done with the Western world today, including meditation and yoga. The Hindus also believe in purchase 4 goals of life. These goals motivate people in their lives. Dharma, living in the virtuous life, comma, peace, pleasure of the sense ultra, achieving wealth and success, lawfully, moksha, released from the reincarnation. So what this is telling me is that religion evolved from the social class secure, where people had defined roles since the religion came from the idea of karma. What do you do in life today determines what you do in the next life. I wonder if the untouchables could come back in the higher caste if they lived in virtuous life. If I look back to what McCandless said about the religion giving meaning to the drudgery of daily life, Hinduism seems to fit that desperation perfectly. What more, it seems to be an elective system for mainly a social hierarchy and control over the population. If you need to improve your lot in next by living well, this is one. Why dwell on how miserable your life is now? You can focus on having a better one next time around. It is also interesting that our paths in life aren't just about spiritually God. The second and third goals really about daily life spiritually. Living in pleasure daily life in view, path toward moksha seems enjoyable. You're supposed to be happy, wealthy, successful. This sounds a lot like later 17th and 18th century political philosophies that would shape the founding of American life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Focusing life and lift people's focus away from daily drudgery or suffering with the hope that one day people might achieve eternal salvation to be released from the reincarnation cycle. The second religion I'm going to take is Buddhism. Buddhism evolved from the Hinduism in the accent Indian, social secure. In the case, there is a male founder of religion. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, and he was born in South Asia, what is now Nepal, in 563 BCE. He was born into Kshatriya Hindu family, which are the warrior ruler caste. The story goes to the Siddhartha father asked some wise men what his son become in life. These wise men said he would be a great leader unless he was suffering. So Siddhartha's dad kept him inside the palace walls of his life. When he was 16, he got married and had a son. Then he went outside to the palace. He got to the palace and saw outside of the suffering world. And when he saw the outside of the suffering burden, his field and his home began to search for peace. Siddhartha spent 6 years wandering around South Asia, trying to find a way to ease, meditating. He became intelligent or saw the truth. This is how earned the name Buddha in the Bodhisattva, or the Enlightened One. After his enlightenment, he began to share what been revolved him under the Buddha tree. These teachings include the Four Noble Truths and the Eight Paths. I learned that whole purpose of the ending suffering, dukkha in the world to achieve the ultimate goal of the enlightenment nirvana. The Four Noble Truths. Life is filled with suffering, dukkha. The root of suffering comes from a person's material desires to what you do not have. In order to stop suffering, you must get rid of desire or greed. If you follow eightfold paths, you can eliminate the cause of desires and therefore your suffering. Eightfold Path's right view. Understand that the suffering in the world, the Four Noble Truths can break up the pattern of suffering. Avoid harmful care for others and think more about yourself. Speak kindly and avoid your lying or gossiping. Be faithful and do the right thing. Do not steal a lie. Make sure that you live that does not harm others. Do not promote slavery or selling weapons or poisonous. Work hard and avoid negative situations. Exercise control in your mind and increase the wisdom. Increase your peacefulness, calmness, and protect your medication. What a story! This young man from the upper class of society gave up his status poison when he had a fixed status was having people for outside his palace wall. These 8 tenets of Buddhism are really about how people should relate to other and how people should develop the discipline. Each of the 8 right is a simple statement about each suffering in life. They're simple, and they are in fact the present of one form to another. Religions as well: be kind to each other, don't gossip or kill or steal, be loyal, make good choices, learn a lot, chill out. I also learned that from the other revealed the ideas Buddha has stopped worshipping Hindu gods, stopped believing in one caste was better than the others. But similar to Hinduism, Buddhists came to believe that following these steps lead towards the nirvana and therefore stops the cycle of reincarnation. So what I have learned about the development of early religions from studying the Hinduism and the Buddhism, in both cases the development of religious ideology was intimately linked to the already established systems that the humans use to relate one another. The social hierarchy of the castle encased the major ideas. Each religion provided the more structure and the guidance for how people should believe peacefully, relate to one another, and how they should live their best. Both provide a pathway and documents on how to earn civilizations, in this case by ending the cycle of reincarnation.